Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. We're here for Thrifty Thursday, Thrifty Conducts. Please take a look down below in my description box to see the hashtag and who hosts these lovely thrift haul related, creative community collabs here on YouTube. So this is a thrift haul video. This is going to just be a book haul, and a kind of a big one. And I know it's a big one. It's the second big one of the month. I know. So I actually did this thrifting all in one place on Mother's Day, because part of my Mother's Day gift was just, having a lovely day that started out with going to one of my very favorite places, the little Kirby bookstore in this little church, and getting to kind of poke around at the books. And I haven't been there. I went there like twice in the last month, but I don't usually go there that often. Usually it's like twice a year. So this has been my twice a year. And I found a lot of great stuff. So yeah, I had a lovely Mother's Day and had a nice picnic with my parents, which is kind of like another reason that I go to that area, and just had a nice day with the kids. They were super sweet this morning. They gave me a big basket of presents that was very, very nice, and it was all about like taking care of me, and like they got me a lovely necklace that says Mom. It was very cute. It's my first time getting like jewelry from my kiddos, and obviously Dad was involved, but it was a very fun kind of listening to them talk about how they talk to the jewelry store people. I can only imagine what the jewelry store people, honestly, it sounds like they had a nice time with my kids, and that's pretty cool. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling. Let's get into this thrift haul. So the first book I found was The Journals of Susanna Moodie by Margaret Atwood and Charles Patcher. So I know nothing about this book, but I love Margaret Atwood, and I love journals, and I don't know if this is a story, like a fiction or not. This was originally published in 1980, in a limited edition of 120 numbered copies. It was designed by Charles Patcher and handprinted by Manuel and Abel Bello Sanchez. This one is from 1970. Nope, 1980. Oh, hold on. Nope. 97. I'm sorry. So I had to go to the bottom date to find the right date. So this is 1997. But the original writing is Margaret Atwood, 1939. No, that's her birthday. I don't know. Let's stop trying to play with the dates. So what's this about? Seems like it's a story about a lady, a Scottish immigrant who came to Quebec, and then to Cobourg, and then to Toronto. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess they're telling a story here. I don't know if it's fiction or not. But if we get into the book itself, it's wonderful. It's like verses. I don't know if this is like about her life. I don't know if this is a true story or fiction, like I said, but I'm really interested in reading all about it. I love any kind of like a journal, like when you're reading about someone's story, be it fictional or real. And I had this really lovely conversation today at the bookstore with this wonderful man. He probably was in his 80s, and I was looking at a nature diary that I found, and he said, "Oh, is that a nature diary?" I said, "Oh yeah," but it's one that I had. And he said, are you getting it? I said, "Would you like it?" And he said, "Oh, if you're not getting it, then that would be wonderful." And I said, "Oh yeah, I have this book. I don't need another copy of it." It was actually, if you remember a while back, I got like a book of the Arctic. I used it in like a couple of journals. It's like this whole story about the Arctic, and it's a nature diary, and it's really great. It's not particularly something I need again and again for journaling, like a Edith Holden type thing, but I had the nicest conversation with him, because we were talking about like our shared love of the beauty of like small things, and how nature diaries often really depict like you know, the beauty in small things that like you don't think about, that it can be hard to kind of explain. And I said, yeah, it's like this morning, you know, I was packing a picnic and I was going to cut into an apple, and I was thinking about just the perfume of when you cut through the skin of an apple into the flesh and you cut that slice off. There's this smell, right? This perfume of like both the skin of the apple, which is distinct from the flesh of the apple, and both of them are right there. And you know, it's hard to explain just that joy or just that smell to anyone, but like, you know it, right? When someone talks about it, it's like that fresh cut grass kind of thing, right? So we were just talking about the little things in life like that, and I just felt like I kind of met my little David Attenborough spirit of the day. He made me very, very happy. He was so sweet. Anyways, so I found a Care Bears book, the Baby Hugs Bear and Baby Tugs Bear alphabet book. This is going to go into the bin of the vintage, retro, nostalgia kids, you know, 80s, 90s kind of books. I don't think I have this one, so I really love it. And it's 1984 from American Greetings. So then I found this magazine, Somerset Memories. I don't normally get these, but I did because I thought this one had some kind of cool stuff in it. And I figured we could probably go through it and kind of see if there's some good inspirations. There are some nice projects. This caught my eye. Look at these like paper leaf kind of things. This is Miranda Van Dyke, the designer and maker of Pure Anders. She creates fabric, flowers, and leaves with vintage photographs that are truly unique memory pieces. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think there's some nice stuff in here. I'll just actually put it with my other, I have a little stack of Somerset books that I keep. And then I found this Mixed Media Explorations, blending paper, fabric, and embellishment to create inspired designs. So there are some very neat, really cool projects in here. So like there's this kind of book. It's a mixed media kind of, you know, adventure, and it's got fabric. It looks like there's some pretty interesting inspirations in here. And yeah, I think just even if I didn't read it, oh, sorry, I'm sleepy. Visually, it's just, there's a lot of cool things here. But I tend to read pockets of these kind of books, like bits and bobs of them. But yeah, it's a nice book. Then, hold on. Okay, yeah, cult movies. The classics, the sleepers, the weird, and the wonderful. So this is just literally a book about cult movies. Eraserhead, El Topo, Citizen Kane, some really great black and white images. Andy Warhol's Bad. Lots of interesting movies. I kind of want to like read it in parts. There might be, oh, Pink Flamingos. Lovely. John Waters is one of my favorite. There's Edie. Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah, so definitely a cool book. And next I found this book of nursery verses. H.G. Marsh Lambert. I think this is the illustrator. This is probably, well, definitely it's a reprint of the original. This one is from 1985. It doesn't tell me when the original was printed, but I know it's old. And I really love the color. Like there's great black and white in here, obviously, and cool like verses. But I really love that color plate at the front, and I really love the cover. And there's a few really nice, like larger black and white images too. Where was it? I think oh, here's one like that, right? Like just, it's larger and it's quite nice. Some of the material in here is a little bit dated in terms of, you know, being politically correct. Then I found this really nice children's book that might just become a storybook journal. I'm not sure. I haven't read it yet, but I really love the illustrations. It's called All Falling Down. It's 1951 by Margaret Bloy Graham and Eugene Zion. And I love the illustrations. I just love the bright yellow as well. But the illustrations in here are just very charming. And it's got a nice color, like set of colors. I feel like there's like, you know, the black and white and citrus colors and blue. Just very nice. Then I found this book, which I think I'm just going to read it. Circus Mirandus by Beastly. Never seen this book before, but it looks kind of cool. I think my daughter might enjoy it. It's a young reader's book. When is it from? 2015. And it just looks like a very fun little book. It's got nice illustrations. It's a nice book to read to young children because, like, especially, you know, like young readers, like you get that blend like around the 7, 8, 9-year-olds where they like a little bit longer reading, but they still appreciate the images. So yeah, that'll be good. And then I found this. So I actually, in my other sort of parallel of life, I also collect vintage toys, and I do have a whole collection. This is a book by the Woodsies, the Woodsy Adventure Book. So Fisher-Price in the 70s created these toys called the Woodsies, and they sort of start out with this sort of stump and this mushroom, both of which I have, and they're made from stuffed fabric, and the mushroom has a mushroom top, the stump has kind of a round stumpy top, and they both have doors on them that you either unzip or Velcro, and inside you can put all of your Woodsy characters. So the Woodsies were squirrels and beavers and chipmunks and all these little characters that were all these little stuffed animals, and they were very nice. This is from 1980. They almost have the same feel as like a mohair bear. There was a mole, I think a possum. There's a bunch of them. I have a bunch of them. Here they are here. And they all would go inside your play stump. And I think that they very much were inspired by like Montessori type play, where I actually have some for my kids. Like I made them when we were younger, and actually when the kids were younger. And actually this is kind of the same concept. Like imagine this bigger, but it wasn't a pincushion. I made this and I used to make this kind of stuff for my kids, and we would call them a play stump. So you'd go out into the woods and you'd get a stump out of the forest, and you know, or like if someone had recently cut a tree, and then on top you would felt, like a big poofy felt, and then you know it was part of their storytelling. They could play with their little animals and, you know, dolls and things, and it just created this sort of foresty background or something that they could play with their dolls on, or their toys. So yeah. And then I found this, the Travelers in Canada. It's a calendar from 1972, a reference calendar. How to change the pages of your traveler's calendar. So inside are all of these, and I love the, you see the moon images there? Aren't those neat? So they're just these fun, like, pages of calendars, and then on the back they have, like, the most lovely, like, they're prints, you know. So the meadow in springtime, the twin lambs, entered according to Art of Congress, A. 1867 by Currier and Ives in the Clerk's Office of the District Court of the United States for the Southern District of New York. Yeah, so these are Currier and Ives, which I believe, excuse me, they're printers who used to create these kind of things, you know, for people to hang on their wall. So there's quite a few of them, and I thought they'd actually be nice pages in a journal. The Yacht Squadron at Newport, Falls of the Ottawa River. Yeah, but it's neat. And then the other kind of neat thing is, like, the closure on this I found inspiring. So you see this Will Weddell and Hills General Insurance Agency. So I'm guessing this insurance company used to give this out. It's got this kind of neat little claspy thing there. Yeah, but I like this whole bit of paper. If I didn't mention, this is going to be a bit of a longer video, so if you want to pause and make a cup of tea, please do. Because, yeah, I got some stuff. Broadway Ballyhoo. This book is very nice. It's got lots of kind of different types of art in it. And old photographs, you know, cool photographs, artsy photographs. Like this woman here against this chair, very interesting. You know, these beautiful, like often these were like opera singers, just amazing old opera singers. Is that Oscar Wilde, I think, looking very dapper? I think that's Oscar Wilde. Yeah, it is. He's such a handsome gentleman. I think I, as Catherine from Sunnyside Journals would say, a historical hottie. But yeah, just some really beautiful, interesting, like this is an interesting image. This is older. And this lady, you know, she looks so formal, but she has a cigar, and this is kind of a rugged fence in front of her. And then this guy very mysteriously has his hand in the front of his suit jacket. So these are, I guess, like some different photographers from the time who were working with daguerreotyping, and just some interesting kind of images, photographs, and then there's like some advertising, and yeah, it's a good book to pick through. It's the kind of thing where, like, sometimes I stress myself out when I buy these big books because I'm like, I do not have room for a ton more. I mean, I actually do. I've gone through quite a few books, but I have room for a few of them. But these are the kind of books I can go through kind of quickly because I end up sort of getting all of the things that I want and then like working with them, you know, like working through them. I tend to try to plan journals around the kind of books that I get. So I did find one older book. This is a pretty book, To Be Let or Sold, Margaret Plays the Game, Winifred Darch, and it's got an embossed, I love the spine. Like you see this, it's like a body, like a girl's body holding something, and then, but up here, like it kind of turns into the shape of like, you know, a square, and it's got like stuff on it. It's very interesting. Also, it's orange, which is unusual. It is obviously a little weathered. We have some, this is just basically water damage. It was moist at one point. Thankfully, this image wasn't damaged. This is like kind of the main plate. I love the spotting and speckling. It has no smell of any kind, so it's not like mildewing or anything. It's from 1933, so, you know, it's a decent old book. It just had a bit of moisture, was probably in somebody's attic or something. But yeah, it's lovely, and the cover itself is really in great shape. And then I found Outdoors with Gregory Clark, Canadian Nature Classics, and this is a really interesting cover that I didn't anticipate. I think I would just cover this up. It's so different from its cover. The cover looks so vintage. The book itself looks so modern. It's very weird. It is from 1973, and it's literally a nature journal, you know, just basically what I was talking about today with that lovely man. Then, Cage and Aviary Birds. So this is a nice book of birdies. Different kinds, you know, like I get a lot of like, you know, outdoor nature kind of birds, but these are, you know, your more pet kind of birds. Not all of them, but some of them. The Gallery Shop Art Gallery of Hamilton. Cool. Never been there before. Then Songbirds of America in Color, Sound, and Story. So this has not super interesting inside. It's photography and a record, and that's why I got it, because it's got the record inside. And then I found another vintage book, The Masters of the Universe, The Horde. So this will go into my, you know, kids books, or my vintage books for the retro journals. Okay, and then I found this, The Story of Music of the Organ. I love the retro feel to it. It's from 1971, and it's about the story of the organ and composers on the organ and all that kind of, you know, getting started. But look at these cool music pages. I guess this is like specific to the organ. It almost looks at times like math. It's really neat, like really cool pages. So that's what I got it for. I was just very happy with the music pages. Next, sorry, I just have to grab this book. So this is The World Atlas of Birds. I couldn't say no to this one. It's a very pretty book. I don't have this one. It's from, what's it from? I don't think it's particularly old. 1974. I probably have another kind of book like it, but I love the, so the illustrations feel quite vintage, and they are a nice size. So this book is an example, oh, what's this? An example of a book that I would, you know, fussy cut the whole thing. A Dream About Mother. How funny is that I'm actually unpacking all this on Mother's Day, and I just found these typed up letters. So this is A Dream About Mother by Ted Atkinson in loving memory. A tribute to the dearest little grandson in the world, Ronnie. Oh, it's kind of sad and sweet at the same time. I'll set those aside and look at them later. But I love when you find things like this, when you find things in books. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's a newspaper cutout of wood ducks. I wonder if there's anything else. Oh, there is. Look, more newspaper cutouts of birds. This person was curiously a bird lover. I can't talk anymore. I'm done. Okay. But yeah, you get the point. It's beautiful. I think I have a book like that has, I would say, parts of this book in it, if not the whole thing, but smaller. Because like I recognize these pages that are like whole illustrations. I think I have like another maybe Reader's Digest kind of compendium where maybe they license those illustrations from this illustrator. These kinds of illustrators, you know, because they're so specialized and wonderful in what they do, especially in the 70s and 80s, like they could really license their work, you know, to lots of different, you think of everyone who's used Audubon's birds in their books, like, yeah. B. Mitchell is the illustrator for that one. The next, just pull the rest of the books out of here. So this book I found Flawed. This is an advanced reading copy, Astoria by Andrea Dorfman. And look at the measurements on the nose. So this is from the National Film Board of Canada collection, not for sale. So this is kind of a special book. I had no idea that like the NFB had books, but this is an interesting story. So Flawed is Andrea Dorfman's charming graphic memoir about very big ideas. One summer, Andrea falls in love with Dave, a plastic surgeon. His profession and their developing attraction leads her to confront her biases against plastic surgery and her own anxieties about her self-image. Ultimately, Flawed is an exquisite tribute to accepting oneself, imperfections, and all. Andrea Dorfman is an award-winning animator and filmmaker. Flawed, adapted from the Emmy-nominated film of the same name, is Dorfman's first authored book. Dorfman lives in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So this is from 2018, and you know, it's kind of old for a graphic novel, I think. Yeah, 2018. I don't know the whole history of graphic novels, but I really want to read this one. And I quite love the colors. Like, how brilliant are they? And it looks like a very sweet story. And, you know, I think, right, at some point you see her struggling with her nose, the size of her nose. You know, like just on the cover of the book, you see the measurements. And then there was my nose. It grew bigger and bigger. So, you know, kind of an interesting story. I think I'll like reading. I found another copy of Leo the Lop. I love this book. I'm going to be using it in a project to have another copy of it, so I'll need a couple of them anyways. That's why I picked up this one. This is written by Stephen Cosgrove, illustrated by Robin James, an illustrator for these books. So these are the Serendipity book series, 1977, and it's just a lovely vintage, I mean, amazing style, right? So yeah, you probably saw this in a recent book haul because I got another copy of it. Then I found The Birds of the Farns by Ronald Embleton. And it's from 1973. It is signed by the author and the Peter. Peter's did the text. Ronald has done the drawing. So this is a signed copy of this little book. It's like a little pamphlet style book. It's just, I loved these seagulls, number one, herring gulls. And it's like a lot of seabirds, fulmar, puffin. It takes me back to my trip in Newfoundland, cormorants, eaters, nice little map, ringed plovers, shag, oyster catcher, never heard of that bird, the guillemot or guillemot, kittiwake. So kittiwake, I love them so much. I think if you've been around for a while, you probably heard me tell this little tale, but I'll tell it again for the fun of it. So when I was in Newfoundland, I was introduced to the kittiwake. I'd never seen them before. They're like a very large species of gull. And in Newfoundland, the locals where we were staying called them tickle-arses, because what they would do is when they were flying, one would come up behind the other and kind of poke at its bum because, you know, they're territorial birds. They actually dive down into the water and you know, hunt, and they pick up like anemones and they hold them up high in the air and they drop them so they can, like, you know, break them. And it's just really interesting. Those are terns. We do see some of them here, the common tern. But yeah, that's from the National Trust. Interesting. Northumberland. Okay, and then I found these. So there's 4 of them. I think there's a larger series of these, but Listen the Birds, Recordings and Arrangements by Hans A. Traber. This has the songs of the blackbird, song thrush, missel thrush, golden oriole, robin, cuckoo, nuthatch, wood pigeon, and jay. And so what they are, there's this little guide, but then it's a 45. Which is great. So I got volumes 1, 2, 7, and 3. And I'm very excited to listen to these. They're so nice. So let's set these aside. And guys, we're still like maybe half done, okay? So sip, drink something. Okay, so the reason that I got such a big thrift haul, there were amazing art books today. Paint, a manual pictorial, thought and practice advice by Jeffrey Camp. So it's this nice big book. It's not, I don't think, particularly old. It's a DK book, though. Dorling Kindersley. So always check them out because they're lovely books. Some of them will, I think, fit your fancy and others may not. This one's from 1996, and I really love it. There's a few reasons. One, I think I talked last week when we did this, or the week before, about foundational books. So this is a great art foundational book. I love this. I love this because he's doing a study on different things in art. Like, this is the language of hands. And then he's chosen this Lucian Freud Girl with Roses, 1947 to 48. So, like, I love and would use that. I love and would use that close-up, you know, and it's just a myriad of different techniques that he demonstrates in different works of art that I think has been curated quite well by the author, publisher of this book, Jeffrey Camp. So this is Fingertips and Tradition, Brushes Make Shapes of All Kinds, Copy and Be Original, Pierrot's Baptism. So, you know, it's like there's just a lot of cool concepts in here. The Thames Open College of Painting. You know, I think you could sort of randomly open this book to a page like this, you know, self-portrait, and you could maybe assign yourself some kind of a lesson here, like, you know, just reading this, like the philtrum. What is the philtrum? Learn about it. You know, and just, I don't know, fish and crustaceans. Like, there's just so many things in here. Still and fast life. But yeah, like, you see, there's just a lot of cool art in here. Like, how neat would that be in the center of a journal? You know, you back it and you use it at the center. It would be really nice. And just a lot of different style in here, right? So yeah, that's a cool book. And this, I just fell in love with this book. Look at this. The Fields of My Imagination, 1990. I love this paper. It is pink, of course, but it's just 1990, poems by elementary school students, illustrations by staff members, the Northumberland and Newcastle Board of Education. So this is a compendium of children's verse and educators' illustrations. Nature, animals, you know. How fun. Like, look at this. This little chalk. Dear Mr. Chalk, how does it feel when people leave the H out of your name? Do you sometimes scream when people push hard on your back? Do you like growing shorter? Does this sound irritate your ears? Do you get a sour taste in your mouth? What do you eat? Are you looking for a long-lost mate? Do you like it when people throw you up and just let you fall? Are your children the itsy pieces of chalk? Do you go to sleep with fear of the janitor sweeping you up into the garbage? Is your life very short? Are you as happy as I am today? Amy Raymer, grade 5, Hastings Public School. So, like, that's really cute, you know. So, yeah, I felt like some of these, well, a lot of them would be really useful and interesting bits and bobs. Like, look at this lovely, you know, owl, this midnight verse, right? It's just really nice. Then, this little book, Goblins, verses by Spike Milligan, illustrations by W. Heath Robinson. And it's got a nice cover. Let me open it for you here. Look at that little goblin. A little goblin journal. That'd be so fun. This is making me think about Priscilla and their goblin journal that I one day hope to see when it's finished. Goblins. Monty Tulip Thread. A Spotted Dick Goblin. Spotted Dick is what? It's a dish, right? An English dish. Let me see. I just want to make sure before I read this there's nothing, yeah. Fossikins Stickloot. Cruet McNightshade. Proddle Gillypunk, a goblin chef. You know, just goblins. So cute. Yeah, anyways, it's a really fun little book. Okay, then Transient of Nature by Patrick J. Mucci. So again, this is the Nature Diary, Lover in Me. This has seen better days. This is a nice cover, though. To find peace of mind beneath the stars at night, when all the earth, it seems, does hold your heart and share all that you care. To find answers to the questions that now don't seem so important as you sit beneath a pine and stare out from the shore to where there seems no end. To feel the breath of life bursting from an open field where scents of wildflowers trickle in the wind to touch upon your cheek, to hold a tear, to justify a purpose while your heart is so alive. Alas, to reminisce in verse, to tell of love. So this is a book of verses and they're quite wonderful. I was sort of going through them, like I left my thoughts with nature. I loved her till I died. He who shares in nature's heart. You know, so just, I think, quite beautiful expressions of, you know, feelings on nature. And also probably life. And then this little book, Keeping Tryst. I Keep the Tryst, Annie Fellows Johnston. I just fell in love with the cover, I'll be honest. But when I looked inside, it looked lovely. I thought this is probably, you know, an old little book. We have this Annie Fellows Johnston, Boston, The Page Company, 1905, Keeping Tryst. And it's one of these books that's just got, you know, it's a whole book of, like, you know, verses. It's not verses, it's actually a book. But every page has this lovely, you know, format. And I think each one of these pages would make a wonderful background for like a tag or a journal card, and you collage on there, and then you have this amazing cover, right? It's just gorgeous. Then I found I'm So Happy, May Sarton, the selected poems of May Sarton. So in the last thrift haul, I had gotten her book Plants Deeply Dreaming. Since then, I did a little more study on her, and like, I love her. And this is a book of her poetry, and I'm really excited about it. I will be doing a short story scraps on her Plants Deeply Dreaming if I haven't already. I think it probably will play before this video plays, because I've recorded it already. Then this Rainbows, Mary Hollingsworth. This is a nice padded cover. I love this cover. I think I would use it for a journal. It's quite nice. And then when I opened it, I saw this. So it's kind of falling apart, but the first page I saw was I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. And it's a William Wordsworth poem, and I just love it. So this was gifted to Cheryl on her 40th birthday in 1990. So, yeah, it's got lots of fun poems on it. And it's definitely, you know, kind of seen better days. But it's got some nice images of flowers. Like, as I turn each page, they kind of all want to just crack into the spine, which I'm totally fine with. Look at those sparrows. Those are really cute. Yeah, so just lots of cool images. With a little bookmark here from olden times. But yeah, it's nice, and I'll probably use that up kind of soon because the pages are a little falling apart from the spine. Okay, then Sound the Deep Waters, Women's Romantic Poetry in the Victorian Age. So this book is just pretty. It's like a nice square green book. Love these papers. I don't think it's particularly old. 1991. And it's just got nice verses, and on each page it has just some beautiful image and a beautiful verse. So, you know, romantic era kind of, lots of nice pictures and verses. Okay. Then this book, Poe's Tales of Mystery and Imagination, illustrated by Arthur Rackham. So, look at that. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I was so happy to find this. It's so nice. I don't know. The year I did not check. I'm gonna guess 70s. Let me see how far off I am. Oh no, it's an MCM XXXV. So that's 19. That's not 1935, right? MCM. That's the 1900s, right? MCM. And then XXX would be 35. Is that wrong? I feel like that's too old. Anyways, but it does have some lovely illustrations inside. Why have I forgotten my Roman numerals, guys? Like, I used to have a cheat sheet and I lost it. I'm gonna have to make another one. I just can't remember them. I've tried. I'm sorry. There's no room left in my brain. I can only hold so much. But there's a whole, you know, a lot of the stories are in here. All of my favorites, definitely. It's just a beautiful book. I do love some Poe books for sure. Okay. One more bag. Let me grab it. It's the heavy one that has the bigger books. Oof. Like I said, it was an art book day, so yep. bear with me. Edward Fella, Letters on America. This is a cool book. Also, the books I got today all had really high prices, like original prices. This place, all the books are $1, which is why I go a little cuckoo. So this is from 2000. And it's all squares of different stuff throughout this whole book. So my friends, Shell, Mary Ellen, Twinchies. It's like Twinchies, but they're not Twinchy. They're, they're not even like exactly. They're like 2 3/4 inches. But you get it, right? Like, look at this. This whole book. It's awesome. Graphic designer. Some like nice, fun, you know. But the whole book is this. Just these awesome. Like, there's a bit of that, but mostly it's all this. I'm so excited about this. I'm just like, I have endless awesome square images. Yeah. Really fun book. This is why I'm just like, honestly guys, let yourself have books. Let yourself have books. It's an innocent joy. We could be out there doing anything, and here we are, enjoying books, right? Auguste Racinet, full color picture source book of historic ornament, all 120 plates from L'Ornement Polychrome Series 2. This is a cool book. It's from 1989. Let's just flippy. So yay, floral, yummy. Look at these. This whole book, right? Amazing. Just awesome. So couldn't say no to that one. The art section, like when I was there last, there was like none of this, and then someone must have come along and like donated a lot of books. Color Drawing by Michael E. Doyle, a marker colored pencil approach for architects, landscape architects, interior and graphic designers, and artists. So definitely there was some architecture art type books this time that I feel like all came from the same person. And I really like these. You know, if you've been around a while, that like I make a lot of art studio type journals and things. And this just really appeals to me. I feel like it's just got me inspired to kind of work in that way again. But I first need to finish what I've been working on. I know I've been a little bit derelict with my videos lately. I've been kind of busy, but I'm still working on things. I'm not going anywhere. As you know, people have these busy times, right? So then we have this, the Studio Library of Decorative Art, Studies in Design, Introduction by Stephen Calloway by Christopher Dresser. And this is another big book. Oh my goodness, me and my big books. But this one also serves a purpose, and I'll show you. So this book is from, so this was originally published 1876, but this version is 1988. So hello, journal pages. These are all plates. Like, no brainer, beautiful, you know, these are journal pages. Like, come on, gorgeous plates. Look at them. You know, this is a book I paid $1 for that is essentially a paper pack, right? An amazing paper pack. Next we have Heck's Pictorial Archive of Art and Architecture, edited by J.G. Heck, with over 2,000 illustration. I just honestly imagine being Heck. I'm Heck. It's a great last name. So these are really nice. Again, journal pages, like just cool plates, little images, but really, really ornate, cool buildings. You know, you could do some really fun, like layering or triptych type work, you know, just, I feel like I could sculpt with this book. I could build things. I could layer things. I could do pop-ups. Like, I don't know, it takes my brain in a million directions. Oh yeah, then these. Okay, David Macaulay. So this is what I'm talking about art architecture type books that were there today. So Unbuilding by David Macaulay is the first one. And look at this. Isn't this neat? Architecture, art, cool, like construction. Yeah, I just like these. These would be good backgrounds, pages, you know, just cool. This book is from, I'm going to say probably early 80s. That would be my guess. To those of us who don't always appreciate things until they are gone. Interesting. Let me see. 1980. Okay, bang on. And then Underground, also by David Macaulay. So same kind of book, but it's about underground. What goes on underground? I just like these. Like, I think, you know, even if you're like, what would you do with that? Okay, so like, look at this cool image. Imagine that in the background of like a collage. Like, they're just really beautiful. Blueprints, all sorts of stuff. This one, what is the date? What is the date? 1976. Next we have Lobby Cards, the Classic Films, forward by Joan Bennett. Another amazing cover. Look at that. It's like Art Deco. I'm trying to decide how I'll use this book cover, but the whole thing is literally lobby cards. Amazing, right? I've been very spoiled today by the thrift gods here, the thrift fairies. 1987. And what is one good turn without another? Lobby cards. Again, the classic comedies. Oh, look at that stamp. That's cool. From a design studio. Oh, the world was once so cool. 1988. So this is a little newer, but it's like old images, right? So again, lobby cards. Just the coolest. She looks like Betty Boop. So yeah, there's that. Then I got The Poster in History by Max Gallo. I see something torn inside of there. I gotta see what that is. 1974. I never find things inside books when I get them. I somehow never manage to turn to that page, and then I notice it when I get home when I do a more civilized flip through. So see, these are all posters. Some of them not so lovely. Some of them are wartime posters. Not all though. So I won't be using the wartime. Oh, what is this? From the personal library of overdue penalties may apply. Oh, it's like that's a whole little, yeah, that's a little library card pocket. Let's see if we can't just separate this from this piece of paper. How cool. How did I not even see that in there? Wow. I love it. Okay, let's move on. I get a little bit distracted. It's true. All right, so this is war stuff. We don't want to see so much war. There's beautiful non-war things here, though. I was watching some kind of a flip through the other day, and the woman was talking about how, I don't know if she got sanctioned in some way for showing art, like nude art, and I was like, really? Because that's like not a thing. But okay. I do not plan to censor any art. And then last but not least, a book that got me very, very excited because I'm weird. Soul in the Stone, Cemetery Art from America's Heartland by John Gary Brown. So you guys know, if you've been here for a while, Oh, is that a bug? No, it is not. It's just plant material. But let's get rid of it anyways. Wait, into my garbage you go. Yeah, it's just plant. So for those of you who've been around for a while, you know I like to walk in graveyards. I love graveyards. I find them to be some of the most beautiful places. I'm not into the whole like, oh, it's morbid or something. No, it isn't. It's a huge part of history. It's a place full of people who were loved and cherished and monumented, and that's really wonderful. It's very human. So John Gary Brown's richly evocative photographs remind us that cemeteries, shadowy markers of death and grief, also shine forth with life and art, by turns starkly sobering, nostalgic, provocative, and quirky humorous. His photos capture the human spirit preserved in all of its amazing diversity. So it celebrates master stone sculptors, grassroots and ethnic folk artists. Striking images document the rich tradition of cemetery art. I have many books on cemeteries. This is from 1994. I think this will go into my library, in my little collection of graveyard history kind of books, because I find them absolutely fascinating. This book is really cool. Mandy Moore. That's not like the Mandy Moore that's like... Maybe it is? No, it isn't. It can't be the one from like, you know, recently, who did like music recently. No, because she wasn't older than me. She was younger than me. Well, yeah, I don't think so. No. Can't be. I don't think. Anyways, I'm quite enamored with this beautiful book. John H. Strong. A massive piece of petrified wood. Just cool stuff. I just really want to read this book. I think it's going to be fascinating. You know, the sculpture, and like whenever I see interesting headstones, I take so many photos, and you see the lamb there. There was a lamb. You know, this represents a time, right? The lamb. It indicates a child's grave. And, you know, during the 1800s and early 1900s, you know, so many children died from things that, you know, plagues and things that we now have, thankfully, vaccinations for to be protected against. But before the time of vaccines and medicines, you know, there were lots of these lamb graves created. So thankfully we have modern medicine now for those who choose to use it. But yeah, what a cool book. So anyways, that is the Thrift Haul. Another big one. I know. But fret not. I should mention that while I do bring a lot of books into the house, a lot go out too. I do go through books, and I do keep them quite organized. My studio is actually, believe it or not, getting cleaner and more organized instead of more dilapidated, because I've been on a mission to like go through, like most of my stuff's organized. All my books are on shelves. I have all these bookshelves, and I you know, organize them kind of in a sort of a structured way. I have like a section of large bookshelves that have my big books that are cutters, and then I organize them by topic. And then I have a place for smaller books and nature, smaller like fussy cutting kind of bird books. And then I have a place for all, where I keep all of my old vintage books, is actually in several stacks on top of this big library card catalog. Big wooden cabinet I have. It has 90 drawers in it full of bits and bobs and things, but that's where I keep all my old books. So it's actually quite organized in here. I know people are probably like, where does she put all this crap? Her house must be a nightmare, but no, it's all in the studio. And it's well organized. It needs to be, right? Because for me, when I make journals, when I work on themes, like I need to be able to find what I'm looking for. And I'm the kind of person, like part of the why I do these thrift hauls, like, so, you know, soon after I get things, I want to put it all away and organize it immediately. I can't leave things lying around because I can't operate in crowded or chaos at all. I go very fidgety. I can't work when I feel, you know, clustered in. Even this desk, it has to be like free. I got to be able to move around. So Anyways, enough of my fancy moves here. I will let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out with me. I had a really good day. It's a really nice day. And until next time, I hope the thrifting fairies are with you. Bye for now.